When Albert Ramsbottom were little, his family made something clear. While they were all singing round piano, Albert's voice were all they could hear. You'd think that was because of its beauty and the tones he would add to each song. But the Ramsbottoms' joint criticism of his singing would prove them all wrong. As the family sang out their carols each Christmas like angels on high, young Albert was told to keep quiet, but rather he just didn't try. The kindest thing that they said to him were his harmonies were a bit too complex. And being asked, do you think you could sit this one out, left poor chap feeling quite vexed. So Albert grew up not singing. All efforts he made were rejected. Even trying to sing punk with a band came to naught. Poor chap were proper dejected. Now we all know the pleasure of singing, alone, in a group, or a crowd, the fun to be had, the joy and the buzz when you belt out a song, loud and proud. But Albert spent years missing out on those things and felt it most as Christmas drew near, as the choice between joining in or not was one where the answer were clear. Then one Christmas, a friend of a friend set up a choir with just one condition. It was carols for all, just turn up and sing. Yes, a choir that didn't hold auditions. So Albert decided to give it a go. One last attempt to give singing a crack. He sang Hallelujah for the very first time, and since then he's never looked back. Like a puppy, this choir's not just for Christmas. They've sung at weddings and funerals and stuff. Old songs, new songs, and songs from the shows, as if carols just weren't enough. From Andrew Lloyd Webber to Zadok the priest, the catalogue goes on and on. But a lot of their festive favourites were written by Trad and Anon. They've sung Mozart motets, Beethoven too, and though foreign, you can usually get gist. Though it did all go wrong one night at a gig when the men tried to sing Brahms and Liszt. The MD tries to vary the carols each Christmas, but eventually he'll mutter, this new stuff really isn't working out, we'll have to just roll out the rutter. They sing carols that hark back to the old days, as sung in Latin by monks, through to hits you first heard on Top of the Pops, now popular in pubs with the drunks. But most of the choir, including Albert, are happy just to be singing. It almost doesn't matter what songs MD chooses, once the Christmas bells start ringing. No, Albert couldn't be happier now, and he's even been joined by his wife. They're in a choir, singing carols at Christmas, and having the time of their life. Long time ago, in Bethlehem, or Royal David City to you, was a pub whose landlord's name won't translate, so Jim will just have to do. Jim were in cellar doing innkeeping stuff, watering down a barrel a mile, when he heard a bit of a shout from upstairs. Please help us, our Mary's with child. This couple, you see, were outside the inn, wanting to get in from the cold, and something about the way that they asked caused Jim to pause, truth be told. The girl that sat on this donkey or ass, it were bleak and the frost it were cruel, but Jim weren't really for letting them in. He had quite a strict no mule rule. So this poor ass was clearly expecting, sitting there trying not to give birth, and Joseph, the fella, said he couldn't get a room, though they looked for all they were worth. What with the census and a bank holiday weekend, Jim's rooms were chock-a-block too. But tell you what, he offered, at last, of a cowshed. That'll have to do. It's not got en suite, nor a good view. In fact, straws about all that it's got. And you'll have to make do without manger, because a couple from Capernaum's got caught. Jim left them then to open up bar, and were busy letting down gin, when he noticed the whiff of sheep in the air as three shepherds came dashing in. "What's it to be, lads? Pints all around?" Jim asked, but was soon disappointed. "We don't want to drink, we just abandoned our flocks to find a baby what we're told is anointed." "Try them two round back," said Jim in a sulk, fed up as his takings were poor. "If it's not enough that you've not got to drink, you've trod sheep muck all over your floor." Jim had just finished off mopping up mess and set to by lunching the rum, when a lad who we guessed were about 13 wandered in, playing and drum. "Put a sock in each Sunday," innkeeper yelled. "You're too young to drink, so maybe you'll want that couple outside in the yard. But don't bang that bellow of the baby." As Jim decided he'd best check up on the pair and see if the stork had delivered, we never got there as a new group arrived, and the ground underfoot sort of quivered. Camels, if you please, 3 of them too, each with a bloke twixt the humps. There were herald angels singing and all, which put Jimbo right in the dumps. "I'm not going to license the music." So pack that in and be quiet. This is supposed to be a silent night, but it sounds like it's starting a riot. "We're all kings, we are," said the one at the front. "And we've traversed afar," second cried. "Following yonder star," said the third. Jim asked, "Are you sure that was wise?" Jim showed the 3 of them the way to the barn, as they clearly weren't going to be drinking. "Can you please keep the camels away from the bar? At least I assume it's them as are stinking." "Look at it this way," Jim said later to Joe. "I let this stable for 2. Now there's at least 8 adults, a teenage timpanist, and I'm not in that Becky, it's new." "Good job you brought gold," said one of the kings. "We'll pay for the shepherds as well, and we'll leave you a bit of this incense and myrrh. It might get rid of the smell." Next morning, when Jim opened up the old inn, they'd gone. A lot of them vanished. The shepherds, the kings, and the drummer boy too. And he heard that the young family got banished. 30 years later, with a son of his own, and this question had stayed in Jim's head. What were happening that weird weekend when that baby got born in my shed? He was reminded about it again one morning as he heaved himself out of his bed. This weekend were also set to be special, the one that his own lad got wed. Yes, Jim had been in at the beginning, although he didn't know that at the time, and now he's off to a wedding in Cana and hoping they bought enough wine.